Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Marvel Plus podcast, the show where we talk the Marvel shows on Disney Plus and how they connect to the MCU. My name is Brett, aka Enigma9011. You can catch this podcast live over on twitch.tv/Enigma9011 every Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern. You join the chat if you're a subscriber over there. We'd love to have you in on all the fun theory talk and fan discussion. But if you can't catch live, that's over on YouTube at 12 noon the very next day. Catch it over there and let us know your thoughts on the show in the comments below. Today we're continuing our Miss Marvel talk as we talk episode 2, simply entitled Crushed. So we're kind of following up on obviously the events of episode 1, AvengerCon, Kamala discovering her powers through the bangle, and saving Zoe. How this episode is going to open up: it's school the next day. Kamala is beaming with confidence as she's strutting her way through the school, interacting with the different students, having confidence enough to, say hi to certain people, get to her locker finally to get her books, have a little interaction with somebody it seems like she's crushing on, has a great time. So that's the post of her experience with AvengerCon. And then we also are going to see Zoe's experience, or her recollection of the event from AvengerCon. And seems like Zoe has kind of blown up in popularity, especially on the social media side. Apparently she made a video sharing her experience from the event, talking about how she got saved from a hero, didn't catch their name, but is calling them Nightlight, and the whole thing there. But she's blown up in followers, even has a crowd around her at the school lunch as she's sharing her story. And through sharing her story, she kind of talks about life, and it's precious and you gotta take advantage of it, and because of that I'm gonna throw a party on Friday. So we hear about that, and Kamala, overhearing that, isn't super stoked. But then the new senior that moved and her crush is now invited, so now Kamala is all interested in the party and going. Bruno, on the other hand, doesn't want to go, but Kamala will talk him into it. And after this, we're going to kind of get a little bit of a sharing moment between Kamala and Bruno about the bangle, about the powers. Apparently, Kamala had kind of played around with it post-AvengerCon, I guess that weekend. I don't remember the dates of these things. But she shares her experience, and we learn a couple things during this montage. One, she doesn't have super strength. I might have mentioned that last episode being part of her move set, power set. I guess that's not the case. So she doesn't have super strength. So during this montage, we will see her kind of working on some more physical exercises, sprints, jumps, push-ups, and stuff like that to work on her strength and stamina. But then we're also going to see her obviously working with the powers themselves, working more with that crystal-esque power, working on platforms, shooting out blasts. And we're going to learn one more interesting thing here, especially about her power set in this show, is that the bangle is not causing her powers. The powers have been inside of her, and the bangle is simply allowing her to use them now. So, kind of, not a retcon, but kind of a way we thought last episode that it was all bangle related, and we thought that was a big change from her original origin. It seems like this will be the way they're going to tie it in more to the comic storyline, and obviously modifying it slightly for this, to not have the direct connection and passing of power or exposure to power or whatever it is between Carol and Kamala. So we got that. Interesting. After this montage, now we're going to kind of get a little bit more of Kamala's life and some information there. So we're going to get her friend and her running late to the mosque. And we're going to see their experience there, and kind of how the women of the mosque, how they have it kind of poor. Well, not poorly, but it's definitely a worse off situation than the men in the group. First off, the two are split. They each have their own section of the mosque, and the women's area is not upkept and fancy like the men's is. So through this, we are going to lead to Kamala kind of talking to her friend Nakia, finally get a name, and talking her into potentially running for the board coming up to kind of try and instill change for the ladies here. So, cool there. So, we go back after the mosque, we go back home, and Kamala helps her mom out with some bags and apologizes for sneaking out for AvengerCon last episode. Obviously, because the relationship here is still a little bit tense. So she's trying to set it right. And after apologizing, for the whole thing, she asks about the party. And surprisingly enough, Mom's okay with it. I guess maybe because her friends are there, she feels she's going to be more safe, protected, whatever it is. So Mom says okay, she's all gung-ho for it. So now it's party time. And Kamala, being the naive and more innocent girl and character that she is, makes a mistake right off the bat going to the party. Goes to the party, guy offers her a drink. Oh, is that alcohol? No, it's orange juice. And she drinks it anyway. Her friends are like, what are you doing? It is alcohol. I think it was vodka. They said it is. She spits it out, makes the joke, am I drunk right now? Like freaking out. But we're going to see more kind of idiotic stuff happen at the party, including one idiot jumping off like a shed or some kind of thing, a garage, into a pool. Does a sweet double front flip and nails it, and hits the pool. Is fine. And it turns out it's the new senior that Kamala's been crushing on. So Kamala and this guy are going to have a little bit moment. Bruno is not having it. I don't know if he's just protective of his friend or maybe he's a little bit jealous, but that's essentially going to be him throughout all of their encounters in this episode. After the two have their little bit of an interaction, the cops do arrive, and Kamran, this new senior, is going to offer to drive them out of there and away from the party. So, we're going to have a little tangent in a second here about some continuity things I noticed, or just something funny. But, anyways, the group is going to get into Kamran's car, all 6 or 7 of them, and we're going to see essentially Kamala and Kamran bond more and more over music and Bollywood films, and once again, Bruno's not having it. So now let's go to the continuity tangent. So we're at the party. Cops arrive. We get some dialogue from an Asian gentleman saying, he starts freaking out essentially. Cops are here. I can't get arrested. I can't have this on my record, whatever he says. So Kamran offers the ride. So we get Kamran, Kamala, Nakia, Bruno, some guy following Nakia, and this Asian gentleman, all leaving together to go to Kamran's car. In the car, Asian gentleman is not there as far as I can tell. The rest are. He's not. We get out of the car as Kamran drops us off at the Circle Q, also where I think Bruno's apartment is, and the Asian gentleman is there again. Did I just miss this guy? It's not even that important, but I was just like, wait a minute. Okay, whatever. Just something funny I noticed. So anyways, Kamran's gonna, like I said, drop them off. He's also gonna ask Kamala for her phone so we can put her number in, and then he'll say goodbye to everybody, including Bruno, except he's gonna mistake Bruno's name for Brian as he makes his escape. And now we kind of get, we move to Kamala going home. And we kind of get a little fun moment with her. She's on top of the world, so we get a little bit of a music/dance number as she's dancing around. She's happy. Everything's the best it can be. She gets over to Mom and Dad. Music stops. Hey, little interaction. Music resumes. La, la, la. Everything's great. She has a little text exchange with Kamran, and it will lead into our transition for the next day. Now from here, we're going to kind of get a little bit more of an interaction between Nakia and Kamala, which I think I really appreciate in this episode. Last episode, she just kind of showed up quick for one moment, but we got no info, no intel on her. We explored Kamala and Bruno's relationship a lot in that episode, but now we get Nakia and Kamala focused a bit more, so I enjoyed that. Kamala's going to notice a little bit of a problem as her nose starts to glow with the crystal-esque power from her bangle. I don't know what's going on to cause this, but she has an issue. Noticing this, she's going to make a run for the bathroom, escapes there. Nakia is going to attempt to help her, thinking it's another problem, offering pads, tampons to try and help her out there. Obviously not the issue, but Kamala thanks her anyways. And the two are going to kind of have this like heart-to-heart discussion. Kamala vents a little bit to Nakia about like keeping up with everything, school, life, all these stresses, asks her how she does it. And Nakia kind of shares her experience of like her and culture, adding the hijab to, her normal attire, and like growing up and trying to prove things to other people and realizing like, no, it's what I want, how I feel comfortable, what person am I. So nice to see this interaction. Also with this interaction, Nakia has confirmed that she is going to run for the board and try and make some changes for, the women in her community. So cool to see that. So now we get a side tangent from the main thing, and we're going to catch up with Bruno. And we're going to learn of a really good opportunity that Bruno has accomplished, or like has the opportunity to do. And he has the opportunity to go to Caltech. He applied for early admission. He's been accepted. And Bruno doesn't take this news from the guidance counselor as expected. He's very apprehensive and worried. He asks about the cost. Maybe that's the issue with his family history we don't know much about. But something seems off with Bruno. And it's not, I don't know if it's like the moving, or now that the Kamala and the senior thing is going on. I don't know, but he doesn't seem amped for it. Interesting little sidebar here. That'll probably come back around in future episodes, and something will happen of it. So yeah. After school, Kamala and Kamran go on a little driving date. Kamala's not the best at driving, but whatever. So after this, Kamran and Kamala are going to chill at a diner, essentially. And they're still bonding. They're talking a lot of movies. And we get a reference here. We get a shout out for Kingo. And that's an Eternals reference. So, talking about crushes on him. Oh, my mom had a crush on Kingo Sr. And like, just, that character constantly coming up, having that little tie-in, especially with the culture here. That was cool. So, little reference there. And then we get this awkward scene with Kamala's brother and his fiance. Apparently they're outside the diner. Kamala tries to hide. The two are hiding. It's kind of cute. They have a moment. But then the brother comes in anyway. And instead of like Kamala just being like, oh yeah, this is my friend Kamran, and playing it off that way, she instead tries to claim that Kamran is their cousin who's visiting. Weird. Whatever. Kamran will fake a Pakistani accent to try and play the part. Brother's going to accept it, and they're going to leave. Okay. Whatever. So now we're diving into, I would say, a tale of two episodes here. We're going to start learning more about the Bengal here, and Kamala's going to try and get some intel on it. So we're at family dinner, and I don't remember the exact way this came up, but they talk about like immigration, bringing their families to this country to, they could be anything they wanted to be. Mom makes the comment, almost everything. But then the dad is going to kind of go into family history, kind of sharing it, I guess, with the fiance that is also having dinner with them. And they talk about the partition and the differences of their family's experiences, the dad's side and the mom's side's experience with this event. And mom's history is a little bit more shaky, it seems. And essentially we hear about the grandmother and Kamala's grandma, her experience, how she was a toddler and somehow she made her way back to her father, and they were able to leave on the last train. Unfortunately, the great-grandmother, Kamala's great-grandmother, didn't make it to the train. She disappeared that night. So Kamala's obviously intrigued about this. After the story's done, Kamala's bangle is going to start to glow and the room is going to shake. Everything around Kamala is paused, and it's only Kamala that's able to interact right now. It pauses, and we get more of like a crystal-esque kind of view with the purple and the lines and the lighting. And we're going to see a portal open up in front of Kamala. And we'll see a woman kind of standing in the portal with some train noises reaching out. and Kamala is going to pass out from this experience and eventually will wake up with everyone who was at the table over top of her. Okay, so now Kamala, obviously intrigued, what the hell was that, runs to her room and is going to video call her grandma. We get the funny stuff of like, well, older people in technology, fumbling with the camera, really too close, the position of it, whatever. And Kamala's asking about the bangle. It belonged to the great-grandmother, whose name we learn is Aisha. Dad's going to overhear the conversation. Kamala's going to be able to keep him out, luckily thanks to the powers. And Grandma starts kind of getting, not upset about the conversation, but a little bit more, I guess, defensive. She says she said too much. Her mom will get upset, and she's going to end the call. Dad will eventually bust in after Kamala releases the crystal-esque power, and she's going to kind of try and play off the whole situation as if she was sleeping. Dad accepts it, apologizes, and leaves. So interesting. What is this history we're having with Aisha? Why is this like walking on broken glass here? We'll have to see. So now the family is going to Eid, a festival, kind of like a meet and greet, a fair-esque. Like there's food, there's games. It's just one big event where everybody's talking, hanging out, gossiping is a big thing they bring up in the dialogue here. And at this event, Nakia has now decided this is where I need to campaign for support. So the three talk about like their plan. It's to divide and conquer. We'll reach out to a lot of different groups. We get a cartoony introduction of all the different groups. And one in particular was funny. I liked how they called one group the Illuminantes, Illuminati reference. And when they get to it and show the cartoony text, it's the same text as the Illuminati comics. Funny there. Obviously, spoiler for Doctor Strange, we just saw the Illuminati, so just funny to have another reference there for that. So now we're gonna quickly take a sidebar over to the police station, and the cops are interrogating our friend Zoe. Our original cop from Spider-Man is going to try and be the good cop here, and is going to break down Zoe's walls very quickly by bringing up her social media presence. So Zoe's talking, and then he does the 180 where he's like, boom, asks a hard-hitting question. Claims that this enhanced individual tried to kill Zoe. And Zoe's like, well, no, that's not how it happens. And like, he's like, did you do it for likes? Did you pose it? Was it your best friend? Was it your sister? Was it somebody you knew? And after this, the other cop is going to enter the room and be like the bad cop. And she's kind of aggressive. And she calls out like a lot of different races. She corrects herself after saying Latina to Latinx. The other cop, while this questioning is going on, doesn't seem super keen on how she's handling the situation. And, tells her, calls her over. They talk their plan. Tells her, they're going to sweep the tri-state area, but you need to be respectful. I guess the FBI is watching them, but also in general, don't be an asshole. Interesting context here. Obviously, we see the follow-up with the post-credit scene from last episode with the cops. I don't know why this officer's being so meh, but there's that. Anyways, let's go back to Eid, shall we? So, Kamala is now tackling the Illuminantes group, and she's also asking about her great-grandma. And apparently everybody and their sister has heard about Aisha, but, and what she's apparently done, or at least they all have something to say about it. Gossip, 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 as we heard in the first episode as well. But they all agree that she's not great. Apparently she's a snake. She might have had an affair. She maybe killed a man. Allegedly. Whatever. Kamala's trying to figure stuff out, learn as much as she can, but I don't know if there's any real details here. So now we're going to get more stupidity in this episode as we see a kid way up in a tower taking selfies for, presumably, Snapchat. He's taking his selfies. He's switching the poses, the icons, the emojis, whatever. And he falls out of the window. Luckily, he's able to save himself by hanging onto a curtain, but obviously screaming out in pain. Crowd is going to notice. Everybody's going to start to panic. Kamala's going to make a move. This is her time to shine. Bruno and Naki are going to watch on. Kamala will quickly change into her Miss Marvel cosplay, obviously to keep her identity safe. She's going to make her way over to the roofs. Crowd starts to notice she's there. Oh my god, it's Nightlight. Well, let's hold on there. And Kamala's going to make a move for the kid. Obviously, the kid's freaking out, holding onto this curtain, slowly kind of falling off of the railing, I guess it had, and its attachments, hooks, tethers, whatever you want to call them. And Kamala's trying to talk to him, calm him down. Talks about food. He claims his favorite food is ice cream pizza. What the fuck? And she's working her way over closer to him slowly through those crystal platforms. The kid starts to fall farther, and now she speeds up. Naki is not super confident that this hero is going to be able to save her. Bruno has the opposite reaction. Kamala speeds up and is going to launch a platform directly underneath his feet to catch him. He's going to land from the last rung breaking off of this curtain. He's going to fall, but unfortunately the platform is going to tip, causing him to fall farther. It tips, he falls. Kamala is going to attempt to catch him head on straight here, but also fails. Just boom, takes the brunt of the impact, and the two of them fall. Kamala, quick thinking, is able to throw a new platform under them both and is able to save the day. Woohoo! We got a social media blitz of the event, people freaking out about her thing, people freaking about the ice cream pizza, the whole thing, memes galore. Kamala will move over to a roof to safety and offers a hand to this young boy. The young boy reaches out, and then woo, Bangle starts to react, it glows, and we'll see, seemingly what I presume, is Aisha reaching out as well towards Kamala. Kamala's going to get scared from this vision, gets distracted. The boy is going to fall off this platform. Quickly attempting to save the boy, Kamala is going to cast a few platforms as the child is falling down. Unfortunately, none of them are super secure enough or even like a big enough size, but the boy kind of plinkos off 4 platforms, eventually landing on a car and claiming his ankle has been hurt. So Kamala, not proud of herself in this situation, obviously with how that's gone, decides to run. She gets to an alley, kind of tries to collect herself, but there is no time as she is found by some drones. The drones are going to chase her, one from each side. She's going to run down the alley, punches one, breaking it, and we're going to see the cops arrive at the other end of the alley, shouting stop, the whole usual cop shtick. She's going to continue running, using some platforms to get over to the top of them. Eventually she'll fall over to the opposite side of one of their vans. Someone's going to come in and make the save for her. Oh, hey, Kamran. Kamran just driving in, makes a save, tells her to get in the car. Kamala in the car as they drive away, takes off her helmet. Obviously, she's flustered at the whole sense of a series of events that she's gone through. Whew. But then we get a woman in the back seat of the car. Apparently she's been waiting a long time to meet Kamala. It's Kamran's mom. And that's where we're going to get the end of this episode. So, kind of the tale of 2 episodes here. We got the post-Avenger Con stuff. Well, maybe 3. Post-Avenger stuff. True to life, whatever the hell, story. And then a quick kind of glimpse and backstory into this family relationship and the Bangle and the powers here. So, I don't know if I said it already, but no post-credits this week. So, where do we go from here? What is the follow-up that we might see in episode 3? I don't know. Obviously, we have this big cliffhanger of Kamran's mom. Who's Kamran? Who's Kamran's mom? What is their deal here? Do they have an attachment to the Bangle? Do they know something about the Bangle? not any actress I recognize that's been previously established. Like, it's not like, oh, it's Nick Fury, or oh, it's this person. So if I'm missing something, my bad. But it wasn't like the oh shit moment of somebody showing up in comparison to others. So anyways, how do they know about this bangle? Good question. Gonna be kind of awkward if Kamran is actually related to Kamala, saying especially Kamala was crushing on him earlier. Hopefully it's not that. Hopefully it's they just know the history of the bangle itself and maybe have some tie to Aisha, maybe knowing her, knowing what really happened. Who's to say? So yeah, speaking of Aisha, we got a lot of name drops for her this episode, and obviously her history, at least what everybody claims to know. We'll have to see where this character, or how we dive into this character a little bit more. We got the tease in episode 1 with all the different seemingly ancestors in this ancestral plane as Kamala did that 180 into the floor and back out to the real world. We got the tease of that in episode 1. Now in episode 2 we get that twice more, but only with a single individual who we can presume is Aisha, but I don't know. We're going to have to see how she comes into play a little bit more, if she's going to be able to interact with Kamala, maybe be a teacher of some kind or be a messenger for the bangle and possibly her abilities. It's hard to say, but potentially we're going to have to see where that story goes. So yeah, I don't know where where we go from here. It seems like the cops are going to be the main antagonist here, potentially. As Kamala continues to learn her powers and learn her abilities, it might just be a scenario of like, oh, it's a vigilante. Oh, the cops want to stop that. There might not be a big bad superhero or somebody making a plot, making trouble of something. This may be more just a a story of discovery with Kamala, her powers, and then I guess the troubles of the mystery behind it of like, oh, there's a new person here that's super powered that we don't know. We should put a flag in that and try and stop that. And then just some other notes of this episode. I said it earlier, but I like how we got some more time with Nakia, an actual introduction of her, what her and Kamala's relationship is. I appreciate that. Hopefully we keep diving into, obviously, her and Bruno's story, as we got a little bit of a glimpse of Bruno's kind of own thing going on with Caltech. Glad we got that experience. And then also, once again, the explanation of the powers. Nice, it's a little bit more connected to the comic book origins. Not the end of the world if it wasn't, but nice to know that it is still something inside of her that she possesses. Now it's just the curiosity of like, why does the bangle allow for her to do these things? Like, what's the connection there? But yeah, I'm excited to see more. It's definitely a different series, at least compared to the other ones. Obviously, we don't know Kamala in the MCU yet. This is obviously her introduction, but I like how this is telling the story in a different way. It's not just formulaic Marvel, where, you know, a lot of them, in a way, definitely do feel the same. Not in a bad way, but if you break it down to its most simple elements, it's the same thing, essentially. This definitely feels different, especially from the rest of the Disney Plus series. I like this. I know a lot of people, it might not be their favorite, and I don't think it will be like one of my top ranking ones in the end when this thing is all said and done, but I do like that it's a fun experience, and I'm connected to this hero or this character after not knowing much, if that makes sense. Like I said, I won't rank, I don't think, higher in my like favorites of like that was the most exciting experience or whatever, but I do like that it's a different type of story and that it's fun, it's engaging, and overall I'm enjoying it. It seems like everybody, at least online that I've seen who has also seen it, is enjoying it a lot. I don't think it's getting as many eyes as the other series, and I think that's kind of a shame. People should definitely be watching it. So, I mean, if you're here for spoilers, well, duh, we just went through it. But if you haven't given this show a try, I definitely would recommend it for people. It's fun. It's a little bit more lighthearted because it's not just a big bad, like, oh, big bad comes in and now this person learns the powers and saves the day. We still got 4 episodes. Maybe that could change. But it feels different where it just is more of a simple issue of cops not trusting new person with powers and her learning her abilities. So we'll see how it goes from here, but I'm excited for more. Hope you guys are too. This has been another episode of the Marvel Plus podcast. I appreciate you guys hanging out today, giving this a watch, giving it a listen. If you want to catch this podcast live, well, first off, my name is Brett, aka Enigma911. If you want to catch this podcast live, you go over to twitch.tv/Enigma911 every Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern. You join in the chat and all the fun theory talk. If you're a subscriber over there, we'd love to have you in on all the fun, but that's okay. If you can't make it, that's okay. Go over to YouTube the very next day, or drops at 12 noon Eastern. Give it a watch, give it a listen over there, and let us know in the comments down below what you think of the show and what you think's going to happen. But yeah, that's another episode of Miss Marvel. Once again, I'm enjoying the show. I hope you guys are as well. And yeah, let's see what episode 3 brings us next week. Appreciate you guys hanging out, and hopefully we'll see you guys for the next one.